You know, I've said many times before, Mrs. W is a right shorty. And this is why I always say to her, you can't do without me. Although she'd probably just go and get a chair and stand on it.
Now you know what they say, good things come in small packages. And I think that means short packages, and that's fine.
They got my delivery wrong then, didn't they? In all seriousness, it's been a really good year for soft fruits. We started off with the strawberries, and of course the black currants, the gooseberries, and the red currants, raspberries.
The black currants were the one thing that weren't quite so good for us this year, but red currants and everything else have been brilliant. And now the blackberries, look at these little jewels.
The final soft fruit of the season. And actually, there are many, many to be harvested.
There certainly are. I love the fact that this is a thornless bush that we have, and it is just one plant, isn't it?
It is.
And I know that I keep saying about it, but there's just so many new branches coming from it, ready for next year.
And there are just so many to harvest.
That'll keep you busy for a while.
Certainly will. Now, in today's programme, we start our autumn planting. We have plants that we sowed the seed for last month during August, and now they are most definitely ready to go into the ground. Hello and welcome back to the No Dig Norfolk Gardener. Now we've come over to our Haygrove Polytunnel, and a couple of 3 videos back, of course, you saw Tim and Mandy here that actually built it for us. They came here to build it, and one of the optional extras that you can actually get with this tunnel is a potting table. And ours arrived this week, didn't it, Mrs. W?
It did, and we're very, very pleased with it.
We are very pleased with it.
Great.
We really are. It's a lovely space where we can put our plants and they can be protected from the worst of the weather and grow on. Now you can see that these are held up by chains, and there's a bracket that the potting table actually fits into at either end. And what that allows us to do is to unhook this. So when you're not using the potting table, it can lift up and you can hook it up, well actually to here, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hook it up to here.
Yeah.
And you can continue growing on that space there. So a really good optional extra that we've opted for, and you know, it really is, well, you can see.
It's a really versatile piece of
indeed.
equipment, I think, isn't it? Yeah.
Now, at this time of the year, what we have found is that in our cold frame, because of where it was positioned, the plants are struggling to see the sun. They're actually beginning to straighten up a bit now that we've brought them into the polytunnel. And I don't usually pot things on before I plant them, but these will be, because you can see they've got rather leggy. So that's a learning for us, isn't it,
It
Mrs.
is.
W?
It is. We're always learning.
Yes. We've got some lovely turnips, and we also have our overwintering onions and our spring onions. Incidentally, we also earlier this year bought some citrus trees, didn't we?
We did. Not that long back, actually. They were an offer that you saw from, was it Sutton's Seeds?
Yeah, I think it was Sutton's,
Yeah.
yes. They arrived here sort of July time, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
And they came in a sort of 3-inch square pot. And we've potted them on since then, haven't we?
We have.
And you can see they've put some new growth
They
on.
have put quite a lot of new growth on.
Yeah.
When they first arrived, I thought, oh, I don't know, they're going to do an awful lot, but they're definitely putting some timber on now.
Yeah.
Certainly the lemon.
Yeah.
The orange is the one that I'm probably a little bit more concerned about, but I have read that the orange is probably the hardest to grow, so we shall see. But
We've actually got a lime, a lemon and an orange, haven't we?
yeah.
And we thought we'd challenge ourselves to see if we can grow these and get some nice citrus fruit, which would be amazing. Now, as a call to arms, myself and Mrs. W, we haven't actually ever grown anything like this before. So if any of you out there have grown citrus trees before, then please give us some advice. We would very much welcome it. As I say, we got them in a sort of 3-inch pot, and we've now potted them on. They seem to have done really, really well. But what we do need to know is where to go from here. We're probably going to keep them in the polytunnel over winter so that they don't get frosted. We're hoping that's right. Some of you may know different. You may actually have grown citrus fruits before. So we would really welcome your comments about how we can best go on to nurture these plants in order that we can get a harvest out of them. But for today's video, what we are concentrating on are our spinach and pak choi. I've dipped the holes, and we're actually going to put a row down the centre of pak choi, and on the outside rows we're going to be putting some spinach, and this heralds the beginning of our autumn planting. So everything you see on this bench that we have sown was sown last month during August, and with the pak choi we hope to get nice pak choi leaves between, well, there'll probably be about another 4 to 6 weeks before we can do that, but hopefully then we can be harvesting leaves from that to enjoy in our stir fries along with some lovely spinach. Both provide us with some really valuable greens to have over the autumn period. When we grew these last year, we found that we could be picking the leaves right up to sort of Christmas, didn't we?
Yes.
From the turn of the year. Whereas the spinach will go on into the new year. So you'll get some nice pickings from it between now and Christmas, and then it will slow right down as the light diminishes and we get the cooler days. But then next spring it will take off again. And what I would say is that although we are going to be planting these inside here today, these plants we have grown outside too, and you can do the same too. If you don't have an undercover space, both can be planted outside. They don't need to be undercover. It's because we have the undercover space, and of course they can keep going longer. They're not susceptible to the frost. When you grow them outside, especially spinach, it really will slow right down by the time you get to sort of late November and into December. And you probably won't see much again until late February and March. Whereas undercover, we can pick them with a bit more regularity. Same with lettuce. And we do have some lettuce here, and they will be going into the ground. And by the way, we should be sowing some lettuce this weekend. So it's like mid-September now, and that lettuce that we sow, that will be lettuce that will give us nice fresh lettuce leaves as we go into the new year. Whereas these that we sowed earlier, they will give us leaves between now and Christmas. So, Mrs. W, let's get these in the ground, shall we?
Oh, yes. We've already pre-watered the holes like we would always do outside as well in hotter weather, haven't we? So
We certainly have, and it's even more, from what I can see, a good idea to do undercover, because clearly the rain doesn't fall in here. These are looking really good, Mrs. W.
yeah, they are, aren't they? And they're the red pak choi, aren't they?
Yes, they're the red. Yes, we found that they don't go to seed quite so much, do they?
For us, that's definitely right. I did see somebody the other week saying that they felt that the red pak choi bolted earlier than the green, but
Really?
definitely, yeah, it was on I don't know, one of the channels that we watched, but definitely for us the red variety seems to be later in bolting than the green.
Oh, yes. So it shouldn't be too long before we can start picking the first leaves, probably sometime in October, but towards the end. And we prefer to do it like that rather than pick the whole plant, don't we, Mrs. W?
Yeah.
Because it tends to last longer.
Yeah. And you can harvest it a bit quicker.
That too. That too. Now, spinach.
As you were holding it, the tray up a little while ago, there's some really nice roots coming out of the bottom of those, so they're ready to go in. It's a
That they
different
are.
variety from what we've always grown before, isn't it?
Yes. This is a variety called trumpet. I think even more importantly than when you're outside, it's really a good idea to give these a good drink of water and water them in. And continue to do this for the next few days, really. As I say, under cover, you're not really, well, you're not getting any rainfall at all with a roof on it. We have got a water butt attached out there, and we're in the process of getting some more so that we can gang them together so that we can collect that precious rainfall, and these plants can be watered as and when.
That was definitely one of the best features that we felt of the polytunnel, was really good, because so many polytunnels you can't, or it's difficult to collect the rainwater.
It is, you're right, Mrs. W. It was one of those things that we really were struck by, and really, helped persuade us to have a haygrove tunnel rather than one of the others.
And that was another optional extra, wasn't it? The same as the potting bench. It was something that you don't have to have it, but for us, we felt it was a really, really good addition.
Yeah. But what does come as standard on all the tunnels are the ventilations. And actually, if you just get down here, Mrs. W, you can see to good the arc, because you can see Scylla there.
Oh yeah, she said. I don't know whether the camera will pick her up, but she's definitely sitting next to that garden gnome thing that we dug
Yeah.
up.
We found that in the garden when we
a
were
bit odd.
we were digging something up, weren't we? And found that in the garden. It's not one of ours, I can assure you.
No, but I do think he's going to have to stay in our garden, as we found him in our garden, Barry.
Yeah. Yeah, and he was. Shall I give these a water, Mrs. W, while I'm here?
Yeah.
So that's a really good job. We've begun our autumn planting. Starting with the pak choi and the spinach. The plants that we immediately planted in after this polytunnel went up, they're doing okay. I really don't think we're going to get much in the way of bees.
No, I
I've
don't
got to say. But we had them, so we just thought we'd put them in there. But you can see that the kohlrabi is coming on nicely. And the kale and the cabbages that we put in here. I think they're going to be really most welcome as we get toward the end of the year, Mrs. W.
I think so too. Yeah, everything's looking great. I love the polytunnel.
Now, we do have much more to be getting into the ground, whether it be outside or inside, for our autumn planting. This is just part one. So do stay tuned to see what else we're going to be planting out. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, we would love you to be a part of our journey through the gardening year. And luckily for us and our channel, with this polytunnel being here, that journey can continue right the way through the year. Now, do let us know in the comments down below what you sowed last month and what you should be planting out in autumn. I'd love to know, be fascinated to know. It could be something different to us, and it will give us some different ideas, and everybody else. And believe you me, a lot of people do read the comments. Also, if you have grown citrus trees before, we really would like to know your experiences and what we can do to bring these on so that we can get a harvest of some lovely limes, lemons and oranges. Now, I would like to thank you for your kind comments after the last video. We had people saying it's so good that you sort of show the things that don't go right as well as the things that do go right. That's one thing that we do like to do on this channel. You can be as experienced gardener as you like, but actually most of what we do is controlled by the sky up there and the weather that comes about. Sometimes we get late frosts, sometimes we get warm, damp conditions which cause the blight that are on our potatoes. We're not too down about it, it's just one of those things that has happened. And like I said in the last video, there is always next year. And actually, we have planted those potatoes that I said I had over. So hopefully, we'll get a harvest from those. They can grow away nicely out there now, and we shall bring them into here once we get to the point where there are some frosts. And Mandy, by the way, I do hope that your potatoes are okay. I saw the emoji you put on there. Oh! I'm sure they'll be fine. My fingers are crossed for you. I wouldn't wish this blight on anybody. Now, do have a good gardening week, won't you? And we shall see you next time.